to the Stick to the Plan podcast. Michigan's elite political podcast is about to begin, live from the birthplace of the Republican Party. Let's gather under the oaks like our forefathers did. Now more than ever, it's time to stick to the plan.
Was in 22 to become a precinct delegate. And right after 20, no matter how a person feels about the election integrity issues of 2020, uh, we all vary on what happened to certain degrees. People were madder than hell. They didn't know where to go. So they flocked to the local county GOPs. Election integrity. Now, along with that, they brought a lot of other political issues with them. Um, and I remember I was elected chair at that time, and a lot of pressure to start like a subcommittee that just looks at election integrity issues, you know. And for some reason, I was reluctant. I was like, well, I got a lot on my plate and all this, but that's why a lot of these people were here. And about that same time I was trying to make those decisions, I was talking to you about it. You know, you'd been around, I'm getting advice. What the hell do I know? I'm a new chair. And I didn't pull the trigger on nothing, but at the same time, all the election integrity groups started popping up. They kind of had been, but it kind of gave a place for a lot of them then to go if their only issue is election integrity, if that was their primary reason to be here. So maybe it's an excuse, but I think that's what happened to the diminished amount of precinct delegates that we have now. Everybody was so election integrity and what happened in 2020 had people mad about a lot of things.
Well, and election integrity was a big part of it, but as you know, the local party has one job to do.
I agree.
That's elect Republicans.
So,
and not that election integrity isn't important, but there were already other groups that were working on that's all they worked on.
Yes.
And I was happy to see them take that and run with it. I think they've
done a Michigan Fair Elections. Wow, what amazing work.
Well, that, and unfortunately, we have a Secretary of State on the other side of the aisle.
That keeps them busy.
And with pandemic, and how she was manipulating the laws and doing what she wanted instead of doing what the law said.
Yeah.
That gave pause to a lot of people going, there's something wrong here.
And it's taken this long for quite more apparently, those are evident.
Yeah.
With subpoenas of the Secretary of State, with our House oversight committees and things like that. I don't know how that's going to play out.
Well, yeah, we're getting further and further away from the actual incident. You know, for 4, 6 years, 8 years, it was a Democratic House, Democratic Senate, Democratic administration, and you're not going to get any kind of action against
and
a Democrat in that kind of situation.
Back to real quick before I forget, as much as some people didn't like to hear it, and I've said, Kevin's heard me say this a lot of times, our main function of the Jackson GOP is to recruit, train, and elect Republicans. And Ray, you said it. All those issues are important. Election integrity, abortion issues, Second Amendment, the list goes on and on and on. But our job is to find the best candidates to represent those, to help fight those or fight for those causes, which is hard to do. There's a lot of issues, but that's our job, to find that candidate to represent us with all those important issues. Since I come to that realization that that's our function here, and if you really want to do more, there's organizations for that.
Yeah. When we're looking at issues within the party, we should be looking at what you just said. How does this fit in with electing Republicans?
Right.
And if it doesn't, maybe we shouldn't be doing it.
It's easy to get in the weeds with that, though, Ray.
Oh, yeah.
I found myself firmly believing that's why we exist as an organization. I even find myself, next thing you know, you're wrapped up into something that doesn't really correlate to electing Republicans. Next thing you know, you're already in it.
Easy to do.
Yeah. Because things are important. I got surfing around many months ago, looking at bylaws of other county GOPs around the state. A lot of them post them right on their website, which I have no problem doing that with ours. Matter of fact, we're discussing that right now. We have no nothing to hide.
Yeah, I don't think it's a
Yeah.
surprise.
So, but I noticed not all county parties have that as in their lead-in of why they exist. Most do. Most do. It's pretty much worded similar. But I did see one particular county. It was to hold our elected officials accountable.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter, Republican, Democrat, or who they were. And I get it. I get it. But that's the job of every citizen, to hold your elected officials accountable. The job of a GOP, in my mind, is to elect Republicans. And I just thought that was interesting. Back when the Trump Force 47 people were here, Scott McGraw, longtime GOP, I don't know what you want to call him, activist, whatever. He's been involved many, many years. He was the director here at the Jackson Trump headquarters. And he once said to me, Ray, he says, Russ, keeping Republicans accountable once they're elected isn't my job. My job is to get them elected.
Well, and that's true. And then it's up to the voters. If they do a good job, they get re-elected. And if they don't do a good job,
Right.
they get turned out of office.
Ray, I almost fell on my chair. Because at first I was like, that's the stark difference between me and Scott McGraw, but it wasn't. And it wasn't until I walked away, and as time goes on, I'm thinking, as a county chair, as a member of the county party, Scott was right. Now, he's that's his job. He likes doing it, and he's pretty good at it too. He's
did a good job here.
Yeah. But I thought that was, I was on the edge of learning that, but hearing that from someone like Scott, I was like, maybe that's why some people get mad at you, Scott. But I learned so much off Scott McGraw. We are here today. We'll talk about some recent county commission issues. Kevin, who is the producer for Hits Home Jackson with John Wilson, and anybody that's involved in politics in Jackson knows John Wilson. He's been around a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, John was on the show with Will Hastings, and it was a great show.
Yeah.
I watched it. I can't forget part of it. You'll help us through that, Kevin, a little bit.
Yeah, it was a weird Hits Home Jackson. It wasn't as pointed as it normally is. And I mean, it was a great show.
I thought it was big too. And like I said before we started today, we often say that after this show. Did we solve anything?
We never did.
John sometimes can be more pointed, and the hour was up, and that was it.
Too many topics. He normally has a couple of topics, and then we'll get into one. And he had 3 topics he really wanted to cover, and he didn't. So there wasn't one that was covered a lot, I guess. I mean, it was still a great show, a lot of information.
A lot of information. He got hung up on the county one for a long time, which diminished the discussion of something going on in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And another, he had 2 topics.
Well, he's usually all about citizens in action, and he kind of just
that's right. With Tasha Carter getting appointed to her new position through Tasha from Residents in Action.
Yeah, Residents in Action. I always call it Citizens in Action for some reason.
She works for Consumers Energy now to help the South Side pay for their utility bills.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, John C. King, who's a handful in my world sometimes, but he calls her "Show Me the Money, Tasha Carter."
Hey, well, I mean, I've heard worse nicknames.
But I was at that county commission meeting last Tuesday, Ray, and I was surprised that the conversation lasted an hour and 20 minutes over a community development block grant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, before I get started on that, I want everybody to know that these are my opinions and my thoughts only. They don't represent the opinion of the county commission or the county board, anybody at the county. These are just my thoughts. Community development block grant money. The county doesn't go after these kind of grants because we don't have the staff to take care of these grants. There's a lot of reporting. There's
That
a lot
was
of
pointed out.
administrative.
Yep.
Yeah. So this young man, Sam Ramsey, working through others, found that this grant was available that would help those in need of not cosmetic work on their house, but if their furnace has failed, their central air has failed, the roof has failed, there'd be $400,000 in grant money plus administrative costs that would help those people who are eligible on a nominally first come first served basis to get the help they want. And any repair that was done that was over $10,000 would be a lien on that property for 5 years.
And that lien would exist just so that they can't get something fixed and flip it.
Well, they could do it, but they'd have to pay that
Pay the
loan
lien.
back.
Pay the lien.
It would then be a loan that'd have to be paid off at close.
I get it. You did say something just briefly that was cleared up by Accelerate Jackson. Accelerate Jackson, formerly the Enterprise Group, is going to administer, for the most part, this community block grant. But you said that at first they presented it as a first come first serve, but when there was some questions brought up, I think by Commissioner Kennedy, and during public, ain't public comment, but it was an open discussion.
Right. It was a public hearing.
That they would, it wouldn't be on a first come first serve, that they scaled back and they were going to do a process of qualified persons.
Yeah, and I would rather see that there be and it's probably not going to happen, but there'd be maybe 50, 60 people who apply for it within a time frame.
Right.
They get graded on need, and then if you have more applicants than you have dollars, you draw them out of a hat.
The only concern, I guess, right off the top of my head, where you said that, was my roof is leaking, or I have no furnace, and we have to wait through the process of 30, 40, or 50 people to apply before we determine. I think some of these are sense of urgency here, that maybe there needs to be a process of approval somewhat faster. I guess you can't just rubber stamp them, but.
Well, I don't think that you need to have a long drawn out process. I think that once it gets out in the community that these dollars might be available, it's going to increase interest in that. And you're going to have a lot of applicants all at once. I'm sure. And the other thing is,
that money's going to go fast.
The money's going to go fast. And I hate to say this, but if you're going to complain because it's taking too long to get a free furnace, I'm not going to listen too hard.
Yeah, maybe the timing's just the nick of time, if it were to be approved to do this, to hopefully get somebody who really needs a furnace before it's time to turn the furnace on.
Well,
but the wheels
we didn't
of
have
government,
that money anyway, they wouldn't be getting a new furnace unless
you'd still be freezing, right?
Still be freezing. Of course, and we've talked a little bit about Community Action Agency. They have some programs out there, but this program is for the out county. No city homes will be involved with this. That's the way the grant was set up, because the city has their own community development block grants they get on a regular basis. They have the staff that does that. Community Action Agency, my understanding, was not interested in doing this. The person who does their grants wasn't interested in it, because it's a 5-year process, since it has to be tracked for 5 years to determine whether or not that homeowner is selling their house.
Oh, true.
So it's going to take monitoring for 5 years. I'm not interested in doing that for such a small grant.
By the way, I think you said it, but it's $458,000 or
478,
okay.
I believe. 78,000 is going to be.
And this
for
is just a one-time shot. When the money's gone, it doesn't mean that grant would be available ever again. That money would probably go fast. Something that I think, I don't know why, but it seemed to relieve to me that wouldn't be available to city residents. Seems like there's probably more people in that need in the city than out in the county, but there's a lot. I mean, I live in a community. I'm sure somebody could use a new furnace that can't afford it.
Their grants are let out for specific needs, and this one are for those who are in dire straits in the county outside of the city.
Yeah,
most of the money, the city gets a lot of community development block grants.
Also, too, the county doesn't have a grant writer.
No.
So you depend on, like, this young man or somebody to find them. I understand why. I was at the county commission meeting when you guys went through line by line trying to overcome a shortfall of like $1 million to fund road patrols. You guys, yeah, I think most people say there's more meat on the bone, but I watched. There's not really no more meat on the bone. You guys are running as lean as government can run. Maybe government could run a little leaner, but you all did a good job. So
we'd be happy to be leaner if people wanted less service.
Right.
The services,
yeah,
you have to pay for it. I had somebody complain the other day about, well, Blackman Township shouldn't have public safety. They should have a fire department. And got into, okay, so how would this look like if we did that? Well, other communities have volunteers. Why can't we have free volunteers? And it's like, well, so you want the service. And if your house catches on fire, you want somebody to come put it out, but you don't want to pay for that service.
So
that doesn't work today.
Blackman Township, Leone Township isn't Pulaski Township. They need to look at the number of service calls that, say, Blackman Leone Public Service runs. And I can give example. Blackman has a higher call volume than Leone, although Leone's up there.
Yeah.
My wife manages a property for seniors in Blackman Township. Yeah, they're there every day, and there's a lot of them. People, just because you don't see the fire truck going by you on a daily basis, don't mean that those guys ain't running calls.
Well, and public safety is a great model, in my opinion. Every car, they've got EMS and fire gear in all their vehicles.
They do.
When I was supervisor, maybe when I was clerk, but I remember a patrolman saw smoke, drove to where he saw the smoke, called in for help, put the fire out with a hose from a neighbor's house before the truck got there.
Yeah, and we went in a different topic that
we're going to be all over.
We do that a lot.
It's what we do. It's kind of our brand.
Here
I'm going to go back to the community development block grant before I forget.
Okay.
How is this? It was mentioned. So how is this going to be known amongst the citizens that if it's approved, that it's available? Is this something that's going to be out? Somebody's going to be out telling, or if the commissioner's going to tell the townships, or
no? The commissioners, and I've already talked to my one of my township board members about the possibility of this grant coming up. And I think as soon as we know it's going to happen, all of us commissioners are going to be letting our townships know.
Yeah,
we're going to let, I'm sure Chairman Shotwell will be on the radio talking about it.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
It'll make news. It'll make Channel 47. Go. Yeah, those dollars are going to go quick. $400,000 is not a lot of money.
I just thought it was remarkable that. So the city has people on staff to write grants. The county is without that. So you guys rely on an individual like this young man to find that this is available and that accelerate Jackson to help write the grant? Or?
I think rely is too strong a word.
Right.
I mean, this young man's not even guaranteed he's going to be the administrator. He has to write an RFP and come up with why it should be him.
Does he get a cut somewhere out of this? Can he pay himself out of that?
If he becomes the administrator, like all grants, there would be money for the administrator. Yeah. So we have somewhere around $78,000 that would pay for the administrator. There'd be someone who does environmental. There's 4 people who would have to be paid over that. And the administrator's on the hook for 5 years of service. So it's not like he's going to get a ton of money. And we wouldn't have this money at all but for this young man and the enterprise. I say enterprise group.
I get it
that way. Accelerate Jackson, who the county pays $100,000 for community development, economic development, and housing is a big part of economic development. We are short homes for not necessarily low income, but for me and a lot of people my age, we're empty nesters. We're in big houses. We want smaller houses. We want less work to do.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of housing available for that.
Well, and there's not a lot of housing available for young home buyers or even young or anybody in the rental market's tough. It just goes to, President Trump right now, beating down the Federal Reserve chair to lower interest rates.
I don't see any need for the interest rates to continue to be at 7%.
No, and lowering them it has a long-term indirect effect on interest rates for home buyers. And that's the selling point Trump and his administration's got right now is the Fed lower interest rates. It would, it's difficult.
Not only do we have the interest rates on homes, but the interest rates for the federal debt. And to pay that interest on the federal debt, which is almost $1 trillion or just over $1 trillion this fiscal year, we're going to have to borrow that money. We have to borrow money to pay the interest.
Yeah.
You know what happens when you do that at home?
Better find a good bankruptcy attorney.
You better find one quick.
Or not. Something bad's going to happen. As a person that, I come up through the belief that the grant tree is too big. And I don't, even you and I talked before the show, it is. At what point in time does the federal government and state government start cutting off these grant opportunities that, boy, you can get for anything? The township I live in, we just got a grant for playground equipment. And the list goes on and on. But as a person that may have to I have made these decisions as a township board member, I wish I could say, nope, it has to stop somewhere. And it's going to stop right here in my little old township. And then that means the tax money that my constituents, the citizens of my township, have paid in, we just turn that down, and it's just going to go somewhere else. It's a horrible circle. But as an elected official, I don't see me ever turning that money down.
It's hard unless the requirements of that grant really went against
how
you feel about that program.
I agree. And some do have some strings attached.
And all of them have some strings.
Right.
But yeah, the way it's set up, the system is if you apply for the grant, you know what those restrictions are going to be, what those strings are going to be. We pour money into the DNR, and they send it back to the communities in the form of different grants. Sometimes we have a local person step up and give us a donation.
Yeah,
which is a
the
grant
county just had that for some playground equipment at Keeley Park.
at Keeley Park, $800,000.
Wow.
Wonderful little playground we put in.
It is beautiful.
It is cool.
It is a
I've
nice
been
one.
by it. I see kids in there.
Yeah, I've never gone by it since it's opened. That there's not been people in there.
So I remember when that was announced. I'm like, yeah,
I was skeptical.
is it going to be used?
Yeah.
You're right. Kids are in there playing, using it.
You know, that's pretty much downtown Jackson for that facility get used that much. It's just
And I'm like,
amazing.
well, how many children are downtown Jackson? Is where my
A
thought
lot.
was.
more than we thought.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, but you're right. And it's cool. I know in Leone, we DNR grant for this amazing playground equipment that we just installed. It's not open yet because there's a law where or rules where you have to have a concrete barrier and then you put the wood chips in or whatever. We're waiting to do that. We just approved that. But the contractor who had bid on, he was the lowest bidder, who bid on the concrete work, gave a call to Wilby Concrete and ran it by him. And Wilby says, we'll give you the concrete.
Oh.
I love community involvement like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's, and I don't know the value. I think it was $1,800. Well, it's $1,800 that Wilby isn't going to get
Right.
for the community. It ain't $800K, but still.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
yeah.
we there's a lot of people who want to get back to their community, and we like to make sure that they have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, thankfully for that. I got some stuff written down here. We got quite a bit of time to go for. We can go forever. I've got a little bit of something on my mind lately that I probably shouldn't talk about on this podcast anymore. I have collected a whole lot of heat, but I can't contain myself.
Don't be afraid.
I've been silent on social media war on this, but Ray, I just want your opinion. I haven't even talked to you too much personally about this. Axe My Tax initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, this one's different. Okay. So the first time around with Axe My Tax, I was somewhat supportive. I signed the petition. I think you and I had some conversations about it.
Yeah, some small ones.
And then this time around, as the county chair, I'm fine with providing the Axe My Tax petitions here. Come up here anytime, sign the petition. But I've come to realize, and it kind of happened with DeSanta in Florida, kicking this around in Florida. Now Texas is. I'm not opposed to the elimination of property tax. I get it. What I'm opposed to is a citizens initiative that I don't think that leaves too many unanswered questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Every time you ask a new question, they really don't answer it fully.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now as a newly elected township trustee, I learned, and I watched you guys do it, the county. It was your budget. The treasurer brought in the money. Right? The treasurer's bringing the money. The county gets some. And I watched you guys with a budget shortfall go through and cut where you had to cut. Line by line. Took 3 hours, Ray. Early in the morning, you guys started that. I was there. And as a township, I approved our budget. Now, I did vote no on our budget because I had zero input on it. Not that I didn't have a couple weeks to throw my input in. You're not part of that conversation, and that'll change in this next year. But my point is 7 people that you should know in your township approved that budget.
Right.
If we do this Axe My Tax thing, and they have this buckets of money and how excise tax money and
buckets,
income tax money and sin tax money will all be redistributed differently to the counties and I guess the townships. But it occurred to me, you're taking local control away.
Totally.
And And when I mentioned that, you would have thought their hair caught on fire, because I actually got accused of not being a good Republican. Well, most of these people I've never heard of until 2 years ago. Let me tell you, I've been in this fight a long time compared to a lot of them. They also throw out purity test. That's a purity test right there, saying that I'm not a good Republican. I'm just bringing up that I wish this was brought up legislatively. So our legislators, let's elect good Republicans. Let's keep the House. Let's win the state Senate. Let's get that governor's seat, and legislatively look at how you eliminate either property tax or income tax, and how are we going to fund the services that you mentioned here not 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
That's how Florida's looking at it. Florida turned it down. Ron DeSantis is all about it. His legislators said, nope, not yet, and turned it down.
Because it takes a lot of study to come up with an alternative plan. And people want services. People expect services. They cost money. And where does that money come from? Taxes.
It
like
does.
It or not. And I'm not a big fan of property taxes. I know that somebody was saying Ray was for a Headley override.
I've heard that. We know.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think I've ever said I was for a Headley override. I said I understood why people would want a Headley override. It costs this county $5 million a year. You know, what would we do with the $5 million more a year? Build a jail.
Yeah.
We could afford
Right.
a jail without doing another millage.
Yeah.
So, but I understand the issues with Headley when it comes to funding local government. Your township probably levies less than the full mill that you can levy. Blackman Township, when I left, we were doing 0.83 mills.
Yeah.
That's what we're surviving on, when it could have been 1 mill. But, you know, that's just something we have to live with. But to acknowledge that, hey, there's an issue, you know, why we don't have as much funds as that we would like to provide the services that the public wants. That's not to say that I'm for it. However, and I read a lot on this Florida deal. I think that eliminating property taxes is going to happen down the road when we can come up with a way to fund it. Now, Florida was looking at higher income, or not income, but sales taxes, because they get a lot of tourists.
Sure.
And you have somebody from out of state funding your police, fire.
Probably can up the hotel tax even more, and on and on and on.
Yeah. So
the toll roads coming from the airport.
Yeah. Oranges.
Yeah. What do? You have to have a mechanism. And from what I've read with Axe Tax Michigan, there's not going to be enough revenue to give to the county. And
So
the government.
they're saying, and I'm not the math guy to figure this out, but they've even admitted that there'll be a $17 billion shortfall.
Mm-hmm.
17 billion.
Yep, with a B.
Piece of cake.
And they're like,
I know,
yep, 17 billion. Now, I was talking
Go to the bank
somebody
and pull that out right now.
I highly respect, and I'm not going to say who it is, but I highly respect the elected official. And he said, well, Russ, you can look at it this way. When the one big beautiful bill was passed, the critics were like, and I forget the number, that's going to leave the federal government short $2 trillion, right? And what did I say when I heard that? Well, fine, figure it out. $2 trillion, right? Okay. The state, now, how's come you're looking at it differently when we're going to be short $17 billion? Shouldn't the state figure it out? I don't know. I'm just not. Some of the Ask My Tax people will say, we'll figure it out once it's passed. And I'm like, I'm not that kind of a guy.
I love that one.
We'll figure it out
Once
later.
we pass it, then you'll know what's in it. Remember somebody named Nancy Pelosi saying that?
Yeah, that's right.
Shouldn't we, as conservative Republicans, learn something from that? We should know those answers up front. If we're asking for a big cut like this, and like I said, I think it's going to happen down the road, but those answers need to be given.
They do.
They need to be figured out. You can't just, what happens the first 2 years when you haven't figured it out? And the budget shortfall is $17 billion.
And another great
The
example.
whole state's on fire.
is look at school funding per pupil right now. Okay.
Highest it's ever been.
All right. I think this isn't the first time this has happened. The state Senate went home without passing a budget. So Lansing didn't pass a budget. We went home, leaving the schools in a lurch about not knowing how much per pupil funding they're going to have for their budgets for the 2025-2026 school year. Okay. Now, the schools have learned how to deal with this. I don't know. I'm not on a school board. Not saying it's right. But I thought to myself, all right, before the counties and the townships can get funded under an Axe My Tax proposal, the current one offered, we're going to rely on Lansing to pass their budget before me as a township board member can pass my budget?
Have fun with that.
That sounds horrible. And the local control portion, okay, not everybody in my township knows who I am, but I'm easy to get a hold of.
Yep.
You call me, I'll answer the phone. I don't have a staff member or anything. You knock on my door. People have done it before. I go to the Shell station. Hey, Russ, how you doing? What about them damn roads? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. Our representative where we sit right now, Kathy Schmaltz, her office is easy to get a hold of. They will respond to you, but they're not as easy to get a hold of as me or Commissioner Snell.
Yeah.
That's what local government is. It's your first line of defense.
Mm-hmm.
We had Scott McMahon on the show.
Yep.
And Scott's very controversial.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been even with me, Kevin, you know that.
Oh, yeah.
But he brought up points that inserted me into this conversation that I couldn't ignore anymore.
Right.
But I'm just taking unlike Scott, other than the $17 billion, him and that Matt Wilk come up with that $17 billion. But Ask My Tax people are saying, yeah, there'll be a $17 billion shortfall. They'll have to figure that out. I'm the one that got thinking about the local control, the schools waiting for the state to pass a budget. Hell no. I like the legislative idea. Right now, and by the way, Ray, no one outside the political world can give a shit what we're talking about right now. No. I swear. Although we're in our echo chamber because we're politically involved. But we have all these candidates for governor. By the way, my neighbors could care less who's a candidate for governor right now. It's too early.
Too early.
It is. Karen's been beating the drum. I'm like, they don't care right now. I do. And there's 5 great candidates. I know one more is going to throw out there. There's probably going to be 2 or 3 more. Mm-hmm. I wish there was less. But 3 weeks ago, I said, I'm not choosing yet. And I ended up choosing a candidate. But it takes one thing. I said, I like this guy because he talked about the eventual elimination of property tax. But right out the gate, let's get special millages off the table for bond and millage requests.
Yep.
They could only be in midterm and presidential elections.
No more May elections.
For 2 reasons. Voter turnout, because school districts especially, but school districts and municipalities love to cram them on those low voter turnout ballots because the likelihood of them passing is greater. But that only gives, say, your school district a bite at the apple every 2 years. That is the start of.
And let me ask you this: what happens if your millage expires and it's a year and a half to the next?
So election? You're right,
so you're
Ray.
Done. So take, for example, animal control in Jackson County. We have a millage for that. All that money goes to animal control. If that millage doesn't pass, what happens to animal control?
Well, you guys got zero money to fund that for 6 months.
We have $0.
So our township administrator, Mike Gesture, I've been preaching this where I can. I like it. I think it's big, but he brought that up. So our public safety millage would expire in 5 years, short of a midterm or a presidential election. We would have to cover that somehow. You can't ask for it early, right?
No, you can.
All right, somewhat early. That's right. I just went through that.
Yeah, you can ask.
Either you'd have to ask for it early, or you'd have to cover that for 6 months or a year, whatever it might be, until you could put it on the ballot and get it passed.
Yeah.
Now, Leone, if you ask me, we could cover it. I know the county couldn't.
Yeah. No, the county would be in dire straits to try to cover that.
So let's go back to in the county, what I see are empty lots, abandoned buildings, closed businesses, uh, things like that. They walked away. They're not paying the taxes. I'm sure Granny or somebody or a farm does lose their farm for the payment of non-taxes. That I would like to see that changed. But I had a person that lives up north uh, that's politically involved, and he goes, what about a lien on the property? Instead of taking the property, I think that could be overcome too, is my point.
Yeah, liens can be problematic because there's going to be interest and penalties on
Right.
that. And how long do you let it lien, right? And next year they put another lien on it, and the year after that. So pretty soon, well, maybe not pretty soon, but eventually your lien can be more than the value of the house.
Sure. So another,
especially the kind of houses we're probably talking about.
I had Commissioner Kennedy presenting something, I think, out to the township, and I knew about it. I'm glad he reminded me. You'll know about it. So there's new law now. If your house is foreclosed on through property taxes, when it sells at auction, the county can't just keep all that money.
No.
They have to.
We used to be able to.
That's right. So if the property taxes is $2,000, throwing a number out there, the county can only keep the $2,000, maybe some administrative fees, not many.
Administrative fees, any upkeep, any lawn,
and the rest
things
goes
like
back
that.
to the owner.
Yep, any balance, and they have to apply for it.
Oh, okay. And
it's a pretty easy process.
Sure. Now, Corey talked about how that brings up challenges on the county level about the reserve. You guys have a reserve, and that's sometimes controversial too. One's for credit rating of a sort, but it funds the townships. The township bills you for your property tax. The minute it is delinquent, it is turned over to the county, and the county makes the township whole.
We pay that tax.
That's right. Then the county absorbs that loss until the property owner either pays or the property is foreclosed on. Okay, which then now creates a shortfall for the county. There's a lot going into a tax foreclosure.
Oh yeah.
It's not a profitable business for counties anymore.
No.
And I don't think it ever was too profitable.
And I'd say our treasurer, Karen Kaufman's done a great job of education to those people who get into or get close to being foreclosed on. So she does education with them. She works with them to try to get a payment schedule going and to keep people from being foreclosed on for tax purposes. Mortgage, we don't have any
That's right.
issue on.
I feel that the majority, not all, there ain't, of township clerks or township treasurers and county treasurers don't want anybody evicted from their property. Mm-hmm. They're going to do everything they can legally within the realm of the rules to help keep them in that property. It might not be enough. I understand it might not be enough. But once a person's deep into that trap, it's hard to bring them back out.
It's hard to get caught up once you get behind.
Any bill.
Yeah.
You ever been behind on your consumer's bill when you're young? You're staring at $800. You get on the payment plan. It's whatever. And you miss one payment, they're turning your electric off. It's hard to get out of that hole. Yeah. So regardless, that's a hat they hang, a hook they hang their hat on, grandma getting or the farmer losing their property. And that does suck, but I seems to me that could be overcome too, is my point. If it was worked out legislatively, we have to elect good officials to tackle these difficult issues like property tax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what, the county commission typically is like the farm team for the state legislature. And, that way, somebody coming out of anything other than government to be in government, it can be tough. As a businessman getting into government, it was like, oh my God, do we do these things this way?
Yeah, it's not the same.
Can we think about running this like a business?
You can try your best.
Yeah.
To run it more like a business, but you'll totally never be able to run it 100% like a business. You're talking too many people, too many customers. They're taxpayers. Everybody's a customer, and you want these services. And yes, maybe some services can be reduced. We've all been through that before.
Yeah. But
there's the core services that you depend on every day. Scott McMahon brought up one. He's a county commissioner in Lapeer, and it was a good one. People don't think about drains.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Drains and sewers, you don't think about it. They just exist.
Not so much sewer. That's separate. Drains.
Right.
Yeah.
If you don't have properly flowing drains throughout your county, you're going to have flooded neighborhoods. Right. That's why there's a drain commissioner, and it takes money to fund that. And just because you're driving down the road and you're bitching about the shitty road, because we all do, and we'll talk about that in a minute, or you notice the new park, or you notice the streetlights, or you notice that there's 8 inches of snow and they plowed the frickin' snow, you don't see the drains. There's things that services pay for that you take for granted because you don't really realize they exist.
Right.
Right.
And then, for funding government too, there's certain things the state constitution says we have to have.
Yes.
And the big thing that we are looking at in the county, we've been looking at it for a couple of years. We must, by the Constitution, have a jail.
Yep.
There's no requirement for a road patrol. Not that I would ever advocate that we get rid
Right.
of road patrol. Eaton County just got rid of
They
road
sure
patrol
did.
because they didn't get a millage pass, and we're not there, and I don't think we'll ever get there because we worked that $1 million we tried to find in that budget was for road patrol.
And you guys still come short to fund what the sheriff needed for road patrol, but he did say,
Well,
I can work with that.
right.
I think you hit $700K.
Yeah, something like that, and it becomes a need versus a want. What can we do with the dollars that we have available? And he did a good job of doing what needed to be done. But the jail needs to be funded, and quite frankly, I don't know. Have you been through the old jail?
I sure have. I don't care to do that again.
Don't want to do it again.
We had
Once is
Sheriff
enough.
Schutte.
It's in bad shape.
We had Sheriff Schutte on the show last year, and he sent some pictures.
We've had it on
that
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the last time we had him on the,
Oh.
he sent us some pictures of showing the cracks in the foundations
Yeah.
and the
Oh, yeah.
water and the, not even in the jail part, but in where the deputies work.
And it
Right.
just a couple months ago, a sewer broke, Kevin, flooding where the deputies work.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's bad. Let's bring that up, Ray. So John Wilson has said it over and over that other counties have been able to obtain grant money from the grant tree.
I would sure like to see that.
And
Because
I don't
of
know
any grants outside of one, and maybe he's confusing appropriations with grants because there's a different. A grant says we're going to put aside this kind of money, apply for it, and you might win and get the grant. An appropriation is the legislature coming together and saying, "Hey, Macomb County needs a jail. They're a big county. There's a lot of votes. Why don't you vote to give my jail funding, and then I'll vote for yours to do something
game.
over here." You know how that game's played.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any, according to my administrator, there's not been any grants, there's not been any grant programs for jails specifically.
So you're saying that our state representative or something could present to the state appropriations committee or a special thing that's needed within her district or his district. For example, State Representative Kathy Schmaltz was just made a presentation needing $1.2 million to help finish the funding on the Cascades that desperately needs work done.
Right.
My mind's going now, well, maybe Kathy should have been asking to help the jail instead of the Cascades. Both.
$1.2 million is a whole lot of difference between 50 million.
You're right. So you're pissing in the wind.
And that could come out of I don't know what fund she's trying to get it for. It could be out of DNR funds.
And all right, I'm born and raised here, Ray. I think you are, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin, yes.
Well,
I haven't been to the Cascades in a while. I've been there quite a few times over my lifetime. Matter of fact, I talked about last Friday, me and Sarah and Grandma going to the Cascades because Sarah's never been to the Cascades.
Really?
And it's been 20 years for me. Gorgeous, beautiful.
Yeah.
It is the main tourist thing in Jackson County. Has been for a long, long time.
Potentially, and in some
One
circles,
of
the
many.
only thing. I mean, if you think about people come from out of town, I mean, we have a lot of really cool things, but
Other communities have them too.
Yeah,
We're the only ones with the
it's
Cascades.
the only special thing we have.
Yeah.
You know,
It is gorgeous. You drive down turn off West Ave there.
Brown.
Yeah, and come down the hill. You can see them going, just driving. But being there and walking under the falls or, up the steps there is really cool. And most people that come from out of town to experience the Cascades are usually leave here going, oh, that was pretty cool.
yeah, it is nice. Even when the falls aren't running or whatever, like it's still it's a very nice park.
It's a beautiful property.
very nice park.
Jackson as a whole, from Ellis Sharp Park over to Cascades, we're so fortunate. Well, of course, Ellis Sharp's owned by the city and the Cascades owned by the county. And the county has a a lot of beautiful parks, lakefront parks. I always
Yeah.
forget the number. How many lakefront parks does the county have?
Well, you just stumped the commissioner. So.
I think
don't know
Corey
offhand.
told us, and I had 12, and I think it's in the teens.
I was
Yeah.
thinking it was 12 or 13.
Near I live, got Little Wolf Lake County Park and Gillett's Lake County Park, and great little place to pull off, go swimming, have a picnic.
Mhm.
There's a parks millage. By the way, Jackson County does have a lot of millages on the books.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. People love animals. They're going to support
Yeah.
the animal control parks. And I was skeptical when I was a layman. I wasn't on the board when that parks committee went for the millage. They got it. They have spent every dollar on those parks, improving them.
it goes back to the Gillett's Lake County Park, for example, it's in my township.
Which I used to live next to.
And I don't live at Gillett's Lake. Leone is a big township, but when I was running for trustee, I got to know quite a few Gillett's Lake people.
Mhm.
You better go over there and introduce yourself. And I knew many. Yeah,
Well, and you have a trustee that lives right there on.
Ron
right next-
Kinch
yeah,
lives,
right
and
next
his
to Gillett's
sister.
Lake.
They're Gillett's Lake people. But somebody mentioned that county park at Gillett's Lake hasn't seen a dime. And I'm like, well, I don't know if they have or not. I don't go to the Gillett's Lake County Park. Kevin, when you were little, me and your mother we used to take you guys
Yeah,
there.
it's been a very
But
long
so
time.
what do I know? But I asked Commissioner Kennedy, and he thought, well, we did a new pavilion. We had like 3 things. It's like drains. Did you notice that there's a new pavilion? And
Yeah.
the old one was falling down,
I had a friend that lived right next door, and I didn't.
I
I didn't know
guess
they
there
had a
was a
new
new
pavilion.
pavilion.
So
And that, by the way, that was asked in a candidate forum underneath that pavilion.
really,
So we're like, I
Hmm.
think Ron said, I think the county paid for a new pavilion.
Yeah.
But and you guys have spread it around all the county parks. I know there's some work
Yeah.
done up, clear out the Little Wolf Lake.
We will put in by the end of this year another $1 million into park improvement.
A gem of county parks is Swains Lake.
Oh yeah.
oh
Wow.
yeah.
That's a gem.
And,
Don't think
we're-
about it much.
We're doing some
I
work
don't.
out there right now.
Now, I don't think it's cash flow positive, but you pay. There's camping there, and there's money generated from that. Things like that. Like I said,
I think it pays its own way.
does it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Then I would like
Yeah.
hearing that.
If it didn't, I'm sure we'd talk about it more.
I bet you probably would. But you know what? All right, between the Cascades and Swains Lake, I'm going to have to make a road trip because I've been to
Yeah,
Swains Lake in 25 years.
I can't remember the last time I went to Swains Lake.
It's a long way from our house.
Yeah.
We have relatives in Concord, and they're familiar, but I'm not out there very often. But yeah, I hear that's a gem.
It is.
Ken Wyatt.
Yeah. I know
He
Ken
lives
well.
on Swains Lake, and he's a retired reporter. Is it Ken?
Yeah.
And he has a Facebook page where he daily takes pictures of things around the county and writes little stories. And a lot of it has to do with Swains Lake because he lives there. And I enjoy reading them.
Mhm.
That's how lately I've known Swains Lake is a gem. I golfed that golf course across from there many years ago, too. Kevin knows I'm not a golfer.
Not a good golfer.
No, I'm good at throwing my clubs.
Exactly.
I don't say I don't enjoy it.
It's the only sport where, other than hockey, that it's just acceptable just to get drunk while you play it. So
It's true, and drive a golf cart around.
exactly.
Kevin, I want a golf cart really bad.
Yeah, I know. I can,
Really
I can
bad.
see when you're
Mrs.
talking
Ross
about
is like, no golf cart right now,
it.
and I'm about ready to go give plasma to pay for a new golf cart.
Maybe
Awesome.
we'll have to have a talk, and maybe we'll have to buy a family golf cart.
Hey, so Kevin, Nola Shin. Sorry, Ray.
No,
you,
it's okay.
you know Nola Shin that used to cut her hair.
Yeah, oh yeah.
She lives over there on Cherry Street.
Yep.
Yeah, but single 60-some-year-old lady and cuts hair, and she ain't got a lot. She got a nice little house there. She needed a new roof. I don't know how to pay for a new roof. I'm like, well, you should apply for one of these community development block grants. But
Amen.
she needed a new roof.
Mhm.
And she had the roofing company come, and it was like $30K.
Yeah.
You know, roofs aren't cheap. And she was able to get a loan. But how do you pay for the loan?
Right.
She says, Russ, I donate plasma once a month and I
Mm-hmm.
get $500 a month. And the way I see it, that's how I'm going to pay for my roof. And I remember thinking, that's the craziest thing I ever heard. Maybe I felt sorry for her a little bit that you got to go donate the plasma to pay for the roof.
But what are you doing with the plasma?
She was fine with it. She's partially retired. You got time once a month. You go down for a couple hours and give plasma. Plasma helps save people.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, you personally, you're not doing anything with the plasma. You might as well give it to other people that need it.
So at first
And make money.
I was shocked. And then I got thinking, that's not a horrible idea.
That's almost a part-time job.
It could be.
Ray, you're going to go down and give plasma too. It's a spare $500.
I'm about to head down there after the show. Well, that's great.
All of us after the show, we're going to give plasma.
Yeah.
It may depend on your blood type, how much you get.
I
have no idea.
I was online and checking because I want that golf cart really bad. But the CLRS plasma here in Jackson isn't real clear about really if you get the 500 or not. You have to go down there, and then they'll break it down.
It's like if you ask for what's the financing on that car over the phone, they're going to ask you to come down to try to sell you that car.
I'm about to go check on. Cover me for $250 a month. I'm buying the golf cart. I want a nice one. I don't want a hoopty. I want one lifted with tires on it.
Yeah, well,
you got to look at Facebook Marketplace. You'll find
they're for sale all the time.
Ray, you don't think I haven't been?
It's probably a good thing that Sarah doesn't watch this show because she'd be cringing right now.
Well,
she knows she's going to get one.
When I do review the show and she's off in the distance on her phone or whatever she does, and we get to these parts like this, I turn it down real quick.
Amen.
But now my news feed is flooded with golf carts.
Oh, yeah.
For sale everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to hit you hard.
Then I found out yesterday that your grandpa has a golf cart.
Of course he does.
I didn't know that.
I did because I remember it was years ago. I think I went down there hunting, which has been that long.
I had to ask him, I says, how much are those batteries? He goes, they're $1,000. How often you got to buy the batteries? Every 5 years, I just bought some. I'm like, oh, that sucks. I have to buy gas. Back.
$1,000 for battery.
Well, he's an old guy.
He's got a lot of property.
So this is an electric.
Yes. I think I was leaning towards gas anyhow.
I'm buying a gas one.
Steve has my step grandpa Steve has a electric one that just sits there because he hasn't bought the batteries for it because they're so expensive. It's a really nice one.
Kevin, you know who sells batteries? Is that little battery shack the
battery guy?
He sells
batteries.
He sells golf cart batteries.
Why wouldn't he?
$340 out the door.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
Because I was telling Matt, would Steve be missing that golf cart if it just ended up over to Russ's house?
I was just thinking to myself if it was still even on the property.
Matt says it's there.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but that's my point. Is that he'd probably be like, "Oh, what happened to the golf cart?" Well, you know.
All right, there's the personal side of today's show. I'll probably have people calling me trying to sell me golf carts. Ray, the fair is August 3rd through the 9th. I've been announcing it for a few weeks now. The Jackson County Fair. The Jackson GOP has a booth there. I don't think there's been a year. We've always had one.
Always had one. I think it's good that we have that great outreach. Last couple, what was it, 2 years ago where we gave out, I don't know how many Trump signs.
A couple thousand at the fair.
Yeah.
Last year. Oh, you know what? Before I even get into that, I do have to ask you something. You are on the Lifeways board.
I am.
All right. We had Lance Slashaway, Hillsdale County guy on here, and I want to clear something up. All right. Lifeways. We're going to start with Hillsdale. Okay. Because I don't know. No one can. I lost track. I don't pay attention to a whole lot of Hillsdale news. But Lifeways needed, in the county of Hillsdale, needed Lifeways to have a new building. I didn't know they share space with the court till recently. And through the course of a couple of ultimately county commission said, yep, we're going to pay for a new building for Lifeways, and Lifeways will pay it back.
That is absolutely false.
Okay. You talk to me about this.
Again, people take partial truths
All right.
and twist it. Here's what's going on if this were to happen. So Lifeways does need a new building because they're mandated by the state to provide certain services. In that building that they're in, that I go to every 3 months, is inadequate. It's not large enough. It's an old office building, low ceilings. And the county of Hillsdale wants that building back so they can tear it down and put in courts. So what we have done at Lifeway is we've looked at different options. One of them was to have the county of Hillsdale to guarantee a bond.
Okay.
That's how we built out Lifeways here in Jackson. There was a countywide, and Lifeways paid it. And the only reason that the county would be in the hook would be in some way that Lifeway wasn't able to pay back the bond. But you go through all this financial stuff with the bonding company and this and that. And they, we can do it or no, we can't. So we're not even doing that. We're going to just finance it ourselves through probably.
Lifeways is
I
going
want to say what? Yeah, Lifeways will self-finance through another bank.
Okay.
So mental health issue is so huge because that encompasses things that it didn't used to encompass, things like autism, alcoholism, drug abuse, so many things. We work with the courts, we work with police, we work with all these other agencies to provide mental health services as mandated by the state.
How much is mandated by the state? Does Jackson County, for example, put more into mental health than what's mandated by the state? Does Hillsdale County? What is that floating number?
Let's talk about funding.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to get
We'll talk about funding.
I do want to talk about that.
Funding is through Medicaid, private pay. We have millages in Jackson and Hillsdale. So Jackson, about $2.5 million a year. In millage money, Hillsdale, a little over $1 million. That's no secret. Our budget, I think, last year was about $120 million.
Back to the facility.
So our local, we don't pay a whole lot of other through our Medicaid.
And I didn't know if Hillsdale had a millage for Lifeways or not. I knew Jackson County did. Mm-hmm. Back to the building story, their county commissioner just a couple months ago said, okay, yeah, we'll help Lifeways do this. The citizens got madder than hell, ran out.
8 of them.
Well, they ended up with a couple thousand signatures.
Not enough to put it on the ballot.
I heard, but the county commission did overturn and said, okay, fine, we'll put it on the ballot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not waiting.
All that's off the plate, off the table.
They can do whatever they want. We could refund it through a bonding proposal, maybe save the taxpayers a few $1 million in interest. So yeah, we go ahead, continue on, but we're going to start doing.
So Lifeways is considering or found a way to probably fund their own facility through a lender or something.
We're still working through the financial issues, but yeah, we're working on that. We're not waiting. So
I read two articles I want to talk about. One I'm not clear on. Maybe you can help me with. And that one is, let's do that one first. Right after the Hillsdale County Commission said, fine, we'll put it on a millage. It went 2 days later. I swear I read an article where Lifeway said, and I think it was because the fear of Trump cutbacks potentially, that Lifeways is like, we don't know if we can continue. Is there even that threat out there at all?
Not that I.
That you might have to find a different.
I would hope, as the chairman of the finance committee, I would know.
Okay. Secondly, I think he cleared that up, though. Just last week, the Hillsdale County Commission, and I know you're not a commissioner there, okay, but you're at Lifeways Board. Hillsdale County renewed a 5-year lease with Lifeways to stay where they're at. And the court, a circuit court head judge was there adamantly pissed off about this, threatening to sue the Hillsdale County Board of Commissioners because they're anxiously waiting to expand court services. Yet, the Hillsdale County Board of Commissioners approved a 5-year lease. So that tells me Lifeways is at least in the current location for 5 years.
Not necessarily. We could get out earlier.
And
if we build the building, get it done, get it certified, get occupancy.
Hillsdale will let you go, let them go, and Lifeways will want to go.
It'll be 2 years.
You can mutually break the lease.
Yeah.
Right. Hillsdale would be like, yeah, you guys go. We'll make the judges happy.
Yeah.
Clean their hands of it.
Yeah, I love it when government sues themselves. But why not? Because it's all taxpayer money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Throw more money at it.
I'm glad we talked about that. I do wonder, and I don't want to get deep into this. I do know that you just said it. They've expanded what mental health definitions are. Probably some good and some bad. I do know, because every family probably has had this. We've had substance abuse issues in our families, and 9 times out of 10, they're correlated to mental health. They need help. I don't see people getting better, Ray. I just don't. I know the effort is there. You know, one of my best friends is Karen, and she worked at Lifeways, retired from there, and she was just the intake person, but she had a finger, and she was proud of people were getting help from what she's seen. But as a citizen in society within our community here, we're not seeing results. I guess they're probably there. What's worse? Is it the chicken and the egg here? Is the drug problem worse, making the mental health problem worse? Is the mental health,
I think the expansion of what mental health issues are has been a big part of it. But back in the 60s, the federal government decided that, hey, you know what? We might be violating people's constitutional rights by putting them in
insane asylums. Yeah,
right.
And
that was actually
warehousing
80s and 90s, but right.
Yeah, and so they said we need to make sure that people are getting the care they need so that they can function in society.
And so either they're roaming
so
around on the streets or they're incarcerated.
Yep.
I worked for Christ-Centered Homes, which is a company that gets funding through Lifeways to take care of people in home situations. My son worked for Lifeway, or not Lifeways, but Christ-Centered Homes for 3 years, working third shift while he went to college, but taking care of the 6 people that lived in that home. Making sure that they're getting everybody has an individual treatment plan. Everybody usually are taking some kind of drug for mental health reasons. And they go shopping, they learn the skills. Some people do get out of that situation and get out on their own.
It sometimes reminds me, maybe this isn't a good correlation. All right. We throw a ton of money at our schools, and the kids aren't any smarter, they're dumber. So what do? We throw more money. Are we in that same situation, though, with mental health? How much more money? When the millage in Jackson County is set to expire, will there be an increase to the millage? More than likely, it costs more to operate.
I don't know if we'll do that at all, but I can tell you that if we don't pass that mental health,
it'll get worse.
it'll get a lot worse, because then we'll have to take money out of the general fund to pay that. What we're mandated to pay.
I've
by the
always wondered
state.
what that mandate amount is. I
About
can't.
680, I think.
Oh, okay.
680,000.
There is a number that has to be
Yeah,
met.
and that's just off the top of my head.
Okay. What road was I going down before I almost forgot about Lifeways? Because that was the topic that I had to. Then I shift gears.
I
real
don't
quick.
remember.
Oh, the fair.
Oh yes, the fair.
How do we go from the fair to?
Well, I almost forgot about Lifeways.
Welcome to the Things to Plan podcast.
The one thing I did write down was talk to Ray about Lifeways. So I didn't want to forget that. GOP having a fair booth, but you are on the fair board.
Mm-hmm.
This year's fair seems promising. Free parking, Art Main Chevrolet, and I think Accelerate Jackson.
Yeah,
paid for that.
Nice.
You know who Accelerate Jackson is, don't you, Kevin?
Well, yeah, it's the
old Enterprise.
Yeah,
Group.
Enterprise Group. I was trying
that
to
we
think
were
of the
talking
name.
about earlier.
Yeah.
So apparently,
I've been very
long time
exposed to it lately.
business in Jackson, Art Main, and Accelerate Jackson are paying for the parking. So that's $5 you ain't got to worry about.
Right.
And then they shuttle you from the parking to the gate. And Ray, I guess you got shuttle duty that week.
I do have shuttle duty on Monday and Tuesday in the afternoon.
Okay.
We drive them fast but carefully.
Yeah, I took the shuttle from the parking to where your booth was last year.
Yeah, because you park in the Armory, and
Yep.
it's a bit of a walk. You can walk it. It's easy.
Well, I had all that equipment.
Is there any way to cut a extra hole in that big wall and put a bridge over the river? And
No.
That's not happening.
Sounds like that's been talked
Historical
about.
Oh, you can't punch a hole in it. Is why.
Ah, dang it.
Oh, all right.
Good try though.
Because they're take a bridge, you're right in the park, and instead of around. I don't mind the golf cart shuttle though.
No, it was nice. It was.
And yes, no more rock bands, headline country bands in the
Can't
grandstands.
Mhm.
No one can afford them.
Yeah.
Faster Horse is even tapped out this year.
And the group or the event that was supposed to replace Faster Horses tapped
out.
Yeah.
You can't afford these live. Well, listen, the county could say, yeah, sure, Nickelback, come play.
Right.
You can't afford the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
No. And we've been shoveling out hundreds of $1,000s to subsidize the
imagine.
fair.
About the
We
one
just
time
can't
you
do
guys
it.
took a hit on that, you're like, we're done.
Well, no, we've been taking it little bits. But
Yeah. But
Steve Miller lost money.
oh,
People go, oh, we want it. Well, we had 10,000 tickets available. We sold 3,500.
that's a
Wow.
pickle.
Yeah, that's not good.
Kevin, you remember those days?
Yeah, that gave me a stomach ache.
On a small scale. Kevin used to be a little promoter in town. Everything's on the line
Yeah.
till the day of the show.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes you'd make it, and other times you I'd say, Kevin, well, at least you had a good time doing it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, I got like $400 on the line. He's like, well, at least you threw a badass $400 party. And I'm like, well, that doesn't help anything, but it helps in the moment.
We've closed down the old roller rink
Yeah.
that is now the pickleball courts for the fair. We're not going to have that open. We put everything into the American One or under the grandstands.
Yeah.
We have some better signage. We have some more kid-friendly things. We have a couple of new free acts that are going to be roaming around. So,
And there
I
is
think it should be a good
grandstand
time.
activities. I read them yesterday, and they're slipping my mind exactly all they are. There are some like 3 days of grandstand activities.
Yeah.
The monster trucks or poles or
Yeah, monster trucks. We'll have demolition derby. We'll have a couple things.
Last I knew, and it's been a while. They might not do it anymore. I know Hillsdale County and I think another county during the fair week only runs harness racing. You could bring that back for the week.
I feel like there's probably some other obstacles with that.
I miss harness racing.
I do too, a lot.
I really do. I grew up. I grew up down there doing a lot. He did too.
Yep.
I used to spend a lot of time at the track myself.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't go in deep, but I'd put a bet on every race, and the action was fun, and the beer was cheap, and it was always exciting in the grandstands when them horses are coming down the backstretch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I am looking forward to the fair. I will say when the America One Event Center was first opened, the Jackson GOP tried to have the booth down there, and we hated it. The foot traffic sucked. We went back to the roller rink. One benefit to that is there's a gate entrance there, or was, and so you caught a lot of people coming into the fair, and we had a lot of activity at the booth. I am looking forward. I think that this might work. We'll see, Ray.
Yeah.
With all the vendors having to, so when we first went to America One, there was vendors up to the roller rink, vendors at America One. Now there's no option other than going down to the America One to see the vendors.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to it. I hope the new fair manager gives us a good spot, because Denise used to always make sure we were taken care of well. I don't know the new management down there yet. It probably shouldn't be that way, but I was always happy with our spots.
Yeah.
I think you had a good spot last year. The only thing that sucks is they promised you Wi-Fi. We didn't have it.
Yeah, Ray, do you know if there's permanent Wi-Fi in the American One Event Center? Do I need to call down there to ask? And I think
we're good.
Huh?
We're good.
There is Wi-Fi, so we can stream
install.
live down there. You
Should
think?
be able to.
All right, cool. That's
Commissioner
positive.
Snell on the fair board said we should be good.
All right.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's next week. Starts Sunday. I'm volunteering down there Monday through Friday, 10 until 2. Kevin and I have zero plans, but we will be broadcasting.
We'll be there Monday at 2.
We will be broadcasting live at 2:00 from the fair. We did last year.
Yeah, we didn't get
We
live
had to record
last year, but we will be down there.
It was fun, though. Ray, I did talk to you about maybe you jumping on.
Yeah,
I think they'd probably do that.
more than
Because
welcome.
I don't, Senator Lindsay is trying to squeeze it in. We might have Senator Lindsay.
Mhm.
And I said, well, we can do 20 minutes Lindsay, 20 minutes
You're
Snell.
right.
If Kelsey Guernsey or anybody else pops in, we squeeze them on and go from there.
As long as we don't do it like we
We're-
did last year. That was a long
We're
day.
ironing out what we're going to do right now, Kevin.
Yeah, right now. Live on the air.
We it might just be you and I
Yeah, maybe.
talking about the free rulers at the bed mattress selling guy.
Hey, what else?
But we're broadcasting live next Monday, 2:00.
Maybe we'll review elephant ears or something.
I hope to
I-
see you
I
there.
do like
We're going to
elephant
wrap
ears.
this up, Kevin. Look
Yeah.
at Ray. He's grabbing his glasses.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be shuttle driving at that time, I think. So
Oh, okay.
miss it.
Oh, you won't be able to jump on.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's drive the shuttle down. We'll get you on 10 minutes. Tell me you want a break. Grab a corn dog, come down to the booth,
We could do in transit.
yeah.
and maybe they won't miss that golf cart being missing.
You're just angling any way you can to get a golf cart, aren't you?
Those seat 8.
You get the big boys. Is it
Yeah.
6 or 8? Because there's a lot of
Yeah.
6-mans out there. I'm
Yeah.
denying them too.
Last year was a big one.
Kevin, I did think 6-man golf cart, and I could book it out. I'll pay for it. I'm angling every way I
Yeah,
can.
but then you got
Go work on the weekend.
You got hoodlums wrecking your car.
Some announcements, and we're out of here.
All right,
We
let's
have
do
hit
it.
the mark. The fair, we're done with that. The Jackson GOP will probably have a Lincoln Day in October. Ray sits on the Lincoln Day subcommittee. You sit on a lot of boards and committees, Ray.
Yes, I do.
Keeps you
Wow.
young. Keeps you young.
Anyways, they're going to set a date this week.
Oh,
Telling them they have to set a date. I did attend an event, Freedom Friday, in District 2, Congressional District 2 in Sparta, Michigan. It was well attended by 300 people.
oh wow.
All 5 candidates for governor were there. Candidate for U.S. Senate. What's his name again? Mike Rogers was
Yeah,
there.
sorry. Yeah, I was reading the chat.
2 candidates for Attorney General were there, and I met a candidate for Secretary of State, but I forget his name. This is the first candidate I've heard of. But I went up there, and I'm trying to secure them people for our Lincoln Day dinner and future Utahs. Went up there and did my thing. Me and Karen.
We'll set a date this week.
Yep. If anybody's interested, the Bitcoin Council is having a free Bitcoin giveaway Thursday.
Bitcoin giveaway.
Yeah, they'll give you a piece of Bitcoin for free just for
Well,
showing up at the
I might show
lawn
up.
of the state capitol.
Oh,
My friend Amber Harris is like the queen bee spokesperson for them,
right.
and they're feeding people and partying and having music and giving away Bitcoin Thursday on the lawn of the state capitol. I might go up to that. I'm going to see if Todd Gilman's available.
Yeah, that might be fun actually.
No, not that.
Nope.
Not that. Oh, the hours of the Jackson GOP,
Mhm.
Tuesday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have free T-shirts. I still have Trump shirts I found. We got some Mike Rogers shirts. But next week, the fair or the GOP office will be closed. We'll be at the fair with free shirts until while supplies last. So business down there. Maybe I'll hook you up with a shirt.
I might just take one of those Rogers shirts.
I took one.
By the way, I seen Mike and his guy, Liam.
Yeah.
Good, smart guy. And Liam says they're short on palm cards, but have plenty of T-shirts. So he's going to get me more T-shirts to give away at the fair. But I'm like, what campaign is short on palm cards? They're waiting on them. Yeah, come down. We'll hook you up with a T-shirt while supplies last. JXNGOP.org for everything you need to know. If you want to help at the fair, JXNGOP.org. There's a little calendar on there. You can sign up. Even if we don't know you, it's a good way to meet. Come hang out with us at the fair. I was on the schedule today. There's a person on there I do not know.
There you go.
I got to hang out with that person, get to know him.
Yeah, get some recruiting done.
But that is it. Thank you, Ray, for popping on.
Thank you very much, Ray.
Yeah.
Gave us great information. And
Yeah,
Kevin, sign us out.
Yeah, other than that, guys, make sure you follow this channel on Rumble and YouTube and Facebook. Make sure you like the streams. You can always donate to the show at Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/STTP pod. That's been up on the pinned comment the entire show. And other than that, we'll be back next Monday.
Live from the fair.
Live from the fair. So I think that's everything. Oh, what we got here?
It always takes you, as many streams you do, it takes you a minute to sign out.
It's so well. I don't have a set sign out for this one. I have a set sign out for the rest of my stuff.
All
But
right.
but anyways, yeah, that and it takes a minute because I change things.
Yeah,
all
just
the time.
push the button.
Yeah, pushing the button.
I got
See you
you.
later, guys.
You've been listening to a Grandma's Boy Media Production. Welcome to the Stick to the Plan podcast. Michigan's elite political podcast is about to begin, live from the birthplace of the Republican Party.